Hello everyone, and today we're gonna discuss about the Pokemon TCG Pocket. And it's still kind of format going on. I think rank alone it's not bad per se. I just think it's, we don't really get to see much other cards to shine, so it really kind of ruins that aspect, creativity. There still is a lot of things for this expansion. This new expansion brought a lot of things, especially Mega Evolutions and some other unique cards that I consider just older cards too. But I just wanted to have this long discussion and possible rant for this specific video. It's going to be a long one, so I'm just going to discuss on the topics of how to make Pokemon Pocket more feasible and enjoyable, and maybe have that sense of other formats, right? Other modes to play around. And I've realized this topic a long while. Maybe some other people have thought about that, have like a new mode, like different kinds of cards to shine a lot in those modes, specific modes I should say, and you just brought a whole different meta going on, and that's what I'm talking about. And I really want this to make some sort of impact, even though I don't think not many people are gonna watch this video because I'm not like a big YouTuber. I feel like there should be some sort of modes that that should be discussed. And I'm just gonna get started right now. So the first one in mind is probably the most discussed, possibly, is removing any EX. Like any EX out of that ballpark, they're really just powerful, and for possible good reason, possible bad reasons. And especially the newly additions of Megas, it really drastically shifts the meta to become more Mega focused, which is not bad per se. It's just kind of ruins that functionality of like a lot of things to become, since these Megas do have humongous HP bars, and a lot of like cards can't really fathom that many HP just to like take down, right? So yeah, there is a drawback of them using Megas. Like, once you knock out the Mega, you're basically automatically win the match, right? So it's not really a huge thing to lose from, but I felt like I want to have like a format that doesn't really include Megas and EX, right? It sort of makes the meta a lot different, and I feel like a lot of decks do rely on EX cards and Megas every time, but there are some decks obviously don't include Megas and EX, right? But most of them are just sort of for fun kind of decks. Well, actually, I wouldn't say that. There are some that I could say they're somewhat meta viable, I would say. For example, possibly like Magnezone or Vigavolt, right? Since Magnezone can really just carry that low because of Apex Magneton's super broken energy generated move ability, I should say, and Vigavolt's huge disruption against like evolution cards because of rare candy. It's really just impacts a lot of things, and that's what I say. Like some of those examples are vastly competitive, especially like Greninja. That is pretty typical. But yeah, also forgot to mention this is like a footage of just play tests between the two right now. I'm just playing a deck for Classic. And I will show the deck list probably on the side of the screen. And yeah, that is a classic, which we're going to get into right now. Classic mode. So this mode that I plan for this concept specifically, because classic mode, we all know like base sets, right? The start of Pokemon TCG, and I felt like let's go back all the way to the start, like the Wizard Coast era, since I've always talk about it all the time, every time when it comes to Pokemon. I always just love this format for its chaotic ability, but also a somewhat well-balanced kind of trope into it. And classic, what I meant by that is probably, the HP is not so high, it's not like, beyond that point. Once, the Pokemon TCG right now is pretty unreasonable health power creep level right there. And we're gonna start the HP bar and limit to 120. So, and that was like the back then, the highest HP Pokemons back then for base set is by far Charizard base set and Chansey, which they both have 120 HP. And I felt like, what, maybe we can make a format that we limit the HP of Pokemon and go on from there, and I feel like the EX era kind of falls through with that. Not so much once it gets to like Gen 3, but I feel like, yeah, there is a part-time where you can actually use EX cards for this format. So I feel like, yeah, might as well include EX cards, since most EX are not as particularly powerful as they used to. And that goes by with like Shuckle EX or Pikachu EX or even others too. And they're still pretty strong. They're just not like as strong as they used to, right? So I feel like that's a format that can definitely utilize that. I don't know. It depends on your decision if you think it's a good concept or a good idea to actually bring that up with like EX being included. If that's fair. I feel like it's fair in an equal match, so it's not really a huge problem since most Pokemon in this mode are just going to have 120 HP max. So yeah, and items and tools such as like Giant Cape, right, or any like Pokemon abilities that can raise up the HP, such as like the new Lilligant, that can raise up grass type's HP bar to extra 20. That, I feel like there has to be a limitation and balance between us, so they can't go over 120. So yeah, and as you can see in this footage, I have used Carnivine on the Leaf Cape, and as long as it doesn't hit that 120 above that, it should be fine. Because once you attach a Leaf Cape onto Carnivine that has 80 HP, it's just going to go to 110. So it's not like huge difference from that. Maybe a little bit power creep a little bit, but I feel like it's not like a huge problem for me. I don't know. It's up to you if that's the case, but yeah, that's the primary thing about that restriction. If you're including tools and Pokemon abilities, or even like supporters that possibly would raise HP, I haven't really followed up anything that do raise HP, so I don't know. But just in case if like a supporter card does come out with that ridiculous effect. Next format I had idea as well is definitely restricted. So this mode that I've created, this is pretty straightforward. Anything that's meta breaking, such as like Irritate EX, Darkrai EX, Finger Ninja, etc. All that, Mega Blaziken. I feel like those should be banned. So for this specific format, if you're having restricted and having to ban these hugely meta combinable Pokemon, or any also supporters, tools, items, anything like that could be possibly banned. I can name a few like Misty, Team Rocket Grunt, etc. Right? So I feel like there's a lot of things that possibly definitely need banned. Maybe ban Elemental Switch. So that could be pretty powerful for Pacific Energy slots. So yeah, you definitely can ban that. So anything that's meta relevant, that's destroying the format, is going to be restricted in that specific mode. So yeah, I feel like that's a format that should have been a thing from the start. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I feel like there are other Pokemon games, such as Pokemon Go, for example. They have all the time different formats for different play, and I know it's a different game, but it feels like they have different modes they can just play around each month. They either have a type specific mode where you have to play grass, fire, fairy or something, right? Something along those lines, or having to play specific Pokemon for that theme, or depending on what kind of etc. All that type matchup and all that. And I feel like there should be specific game modes of that, and I'm pretty shocked the Pokemon Park hasn't followed through with that, because right now, again, it's just primarily ranked, casual, and that's really it. Casual, you don't really get much out of it. You're just playing casual. It's basically the same thing as ranked. It's just that ranked, you get something out of it if you get tons of wins. So it's a lot different from what it is. Also in particular, I don't really count casual as a mode. Honestly, it kind of distorts the primary goal of the game. And yeah, that's really it. You might as well just play ranked, just to get something out of it. But yeah, that's all I could think about that. That's a problem on their part. I don't know if they have different developers. I'm pretty sure they do. But I'm just from what I know so far, it seems like the developers for this game do hear the community a lot, compared to Niantic, terrible company. And yeah, I feel like hopefully this can spread out to them, make some sort of ideas for the stale format that we have going on, and make something a little bit different, right? Because ranked it's good, but it's not good enough to keep people going, right? People want to play fun decks. People want to play something that's not the same all the time. You get stale. But yeah, I feel like just getting rid of any huge meta threats is just gonna bring lots of stress out of the table, and it makes tons of fun decks to play around, and I feel like that's a great format to just have fun. That's all I simply wanted, is to have a restricted format to restrict these annoying meta consistent decks and just get rid of them entirely. No Oricorio, no nothing like that. It's just restricted. Also, the deck I'm playing here is a lot different, and this is the format that I'm going to get into is Gym Leader Challenge. Now this is a particular game mode that has been created by Tricky Jim himself. Now I don't know if he has like rights to this sort of format that he created. Now if you had never heard of Gym Leader Challenge or anything like that, I recommend just like searching up Gym Leader Challenge, Tricky Jim. I'm pretty sure he'll explain it. I probably would leave a description down below if I do find it, but yeah. Now this is the format where you play only one copy of each card, supporters, item cards, Pokemon, etc. Right? So you can only play one copy of each card primarily. So it's really has to limit that creativity, and that's really just the whole thing about it, And plus, you have to pick one typing that you pick. You cannot pick other typings. You can only pick one single type out of that. As I'm playing Ampharos and just Ampharos deck, just Ampharos with. I don't think I played Lieutenant Surge, but I play like the bus. But yeah, and this deck is not consistent, I wouldn't say. Also, I did get that nice kind of turn 2 kind of play. That was pretty sick. But yeah, I feel like oh, and this is the deck that I've been playing for Classic. This is the Arceus deck, the infamous Arceus. If you probably already know that when Arceus came out, it was just popping off with this deck. Well, the EX one instead of this one. This one's looking kind of suck, but hey, Classic mode, it's not bad. It's not bad. So yeah, I recommend just trying it out with a friend if you do so, or just like play test it on your own. You're just gonna have tons of fun just play testing these modes that I just suggested. But yeah, I think Gym Leader Challenge definitely brings that whole deck building a lot. I definitely recommend just playing around this, but I don't know if Pokemon Pocket would actually take this for granted. I don't know if it has a copyright infringement on this. I don't know. I'm not Tricky Jim, but I'm just suggesting this mode because I do think it's a generally fun mode to play around, and I definitely would recommend just like playing around with this. Definitely limits that deck pool that you have, and you definitely leave a lot of space for other things that you may not even play. And yeah, I think and also usually most of the time you're just like playing a stage 2 or like something else. And I forgot to mention, you cannot play any EX cards, no megas or anything like that. So no powerful power creep cards like that. So yeah, EX cards and megas are not allowed for this, if I forgot to mention that. But yeah, I do think this is a format that I'm not sure I could let Pokemon Pocket put in this game. Because again, I'm not Tricky Jim, so if you're watching this, Tricky Jim, let me know if you would let Pokemon Pocket in this format. Yeah, I would love to see his opinion, but I feel like who knows, could be some sort of partnership. Also, a recommendation, honorable mention format that I quite think about is maybe have like a regional kind of format, maybe like Kanto, Johto, Poland, etc. Right? Maybe have like specific regions of that specific mode. But again, that's kind of like a loosey-goosey kind of thing. I don't mind that, I think, actually. I don't mind that being a format. I'm just suggesting that if that's going to be a good format, leave it down in the comments if you think that's a good format. Having like region specific mons to be in that mode. I feel like it's like a 50-50 kind of thing. I don't know how it would play out, but I feel like it may play out a lot different from the other formats. Another honorable mention would be probably having what you have like the good old days of Apex, genetic Apex, of having each format have their own mode. Now I'm trying to say that maybe just give them for each expansion a mode where you can only play that only specific expansion cards for that specific mode. So example, in Genetic Apex format, you can only play Genetic Apex cards, right? Mewtwo EX, Starmie EX, Charizard EX, Moltres, all that. You can only play cards that came out from that pack expansion. So I feel like that's a format that's also loosely, but I feel like that is a potential kind of format maybe suggested, possibly. And again, I don't really mind seeing that also, if that's gonna be the case, because a lot of creativity does came out of that. I keep saying creativity, I don't know why, but I can visualize that there is a lot of deck building to play on those only genetic format kind of thing. Yeah, you can just play whatever expansion you want to play, and you can play only primarily those specific cards, and again, more deck ideas to release into those modes, and I would love to see that. I would love to see people playing other cards that I've never seen before, right? I think that's really just going to bring out that new thought into a lot of game modes. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I feel like that's a lot of things that I talk about throughout this video. I've been ranting, and it is a discussion video, so yeah, and you're enjoying some clips of me just play testing around these formats, and so far I've enjoyed it actually. Like classic mode, definitely pretty enjoyable. That 120 HP, I just love that. Not power creep, you don't have to deal with that. It's just a lot of nonsense, right? Generally I don't like power creep in like most TCGs, but it does happen because especially if you're running out of DIs, you get to a point where power creep just goes beyond that point of time that you can't really fathom about anymore that you used to. But yeah, I would say like Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic Gathering, and others have fallen into that power creep decision. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it does happen in many TCGs. But yeah, I feel like I've discussed a lot of ideas. Leave it down in the comments if you have any ideas for these suggestive formats, and maybe include some others, and maybe make some changes of the others that I've mentioned in this video. I feel like what I discussed is pretty straightforward, hopefully, to your stance. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for now. If I have any ideas, I probably would make another video, but for now, I'm gonna leave it here. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and enjoy this clip of me just facing against a blink deck. I don't know if I'll show the other decks, but gotta see. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.